I got a pretty neat one here today, and this one is from Rogue Spectre Delta, and they want to make basically destructible environments, which I'm sure a lot of people really like. The only problem they're having is that it seems to take the same amount of shots no matter what weapon's being used, so if it takes 10 shots from an AR, that also means 10 shots from a rocket launcher. Well, we don't want that, but that's why we're here. We're going to fix that. We're going to make it so that your destructible environments take different damage based on the weapon being used. So with that, let's jump right into this. For the map, the only thing you're really going to need to focus on is your object that you want destroyed or damaged, and for me that's a red sphere. And make sure it's dynamic, because otherwise you can't bring it into the node graph. But now that you got that, we can go ahead and start it up. So go into node graph and bring it in with Y. The event we're going to use is actually in the regular events tab, but it's called on object damaged. It's kind of misleading because it says this event won't trigger when players or objects that don't have health values are used as the object referenced, but that's completely untrue, as you'll see that it works just fine even with objects that have no health value, like this sphere. Okay, now we need to go to Variables Advanced, and we're going to grab Declare Number Variable, because this is where we're going to declare our object's health. Red sphere health, so RSH for short to make it easy. I'm going to give this thing 150 health, which could be a lot or a little depending on how much damage you set the guns to do, but we'll get to that later. Make sure your scope is global or local, as long as the other nodes that share the same identifier also share the same scope. Okay, attacking object, that's what we're going to focus on now. That's, what damage this. Is it a player or an AI? We're going to use get unit weapons. If you only want players to be able to damage this object, you can use this node, and it's called get player weapons, and it will function the exact same way, except this one will only count players. This one counts AI and players. Otherwise, they're identical. And I'm going to use the get unit weapons because AI can destroy this too. Go ahead and plug in unit into attacking object like that. We're going to go up two more nodes. And we're going to grab get is weapon type. We're going to attach equip weapon here to weapon, because unequipped weapon is not the one we're shooting with, so that one is not really relevant. We don't want it to do damage based on the weapon we're not holding. Okay, so weapon type, the first one we're going to try is the battle rifle. We're going to set how much damage this battle rifle does to our object. And to do that, let's go grab a branch from logic. Place it right here. And go ahead and connect these two like this, the event to your branch. The condition is the is weapon type. From the same tab, we're going to grab increment number variable and place it right here. Go ahead and plug if true into this, because we're going to find out what did the unit shoot this object with. Was it a battle rifle? Yes. Okay, then that's when this happens. Go ahead and make sure the identifier matches your number variable, because that's what this is doing. The increment value. This is where you set how much damage you want this weapon to do to this object. That's why I said 150 could be a lot or a little. Because if we set it to negative 150, then it's only going to take one shot from this battle rifle to destroy that sphere. Or if we set it to 1, it'll take 150 shots to destroy the sphere. But for me, I'm going to set it to 10. So that'll take about 5 trigger pulls to really destroy that sphere. Make sure the scope matches, like I said, which is global. And that's it. It will technically function right now. But as a way to show you it functions, you don't have to do this. And I will talk about it after this. So if you see me connecting things to a node like this, just ignore it, because you do not need this. This is just here for me to show you that it's working. We're going to go down here to, you will need this node right here though, because it's going to be used later. I'm going to place it right here, but it will be used later in a more important part of the script. I'm going to plug this in right here. Get number variable from Variables Advanced. I'm going to name it the same identifier as the others, RSH, and the same exact scope. Now, when we shoot it with a battle rifle, not with an AR by the way, there's a reason for that. I'll cover that in a moment. But if we shoot it with a BR, you'll see over there on the left, the debug says 140, 130, 120. It's done 30 damage from the 150. Do it again. Gets 3 bullets. 10 each. And it's just simple math says, hey, we're going down by 10 each time. 3 shots means 30. So each trigger pull brings down 30. And you'll notice now we're down to 30 health. If I do it one more time, when the debug updates, it's going to say 0. But you'll see now it has negative values because we did it again, but why is the sphere still there? Because we don't have a script set up to destroy it when it reaches 0 health, which is what we're going to do now. Which is why this is important. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get a little confusing here, but I'm going to do it the best I can to explain because I don't use this node very often whatsoever in any of my tutorials. What we're going to be using is in Events Custom, and it's the very bottom, Trigger Custom Event Global Async. And that is a mouthful, but I promise it's nowhere near as bad as it sounds. So when you grab this, put it in between these, move your branch in this over here, put it right after your event, and go ahead and disconnect your event right here from everything. Because we're going to basically just be plugging this Trigger Custom Event Global Async into the middle of these two, between your branch and your onObject damaged. Now we're going to name it, and I'm going to name it Destroy Red Sphere, Destroy RS. And the reason we're going to use async is because if we don't, then, and we use like a regular custom event, it won't allow this to finish first. Essentially, when you use a custom event to trigger a new script, then it completes this script first before it will begin or continue on with the rest of this script. So it will get to this node right here, then it will start this script and complete it all the way before this one starts. If we use async, however, it allows us to have them both running simultaneously without interrupting the flow of this script. So we'll hit this and then keep on going while it starts this one. And that's why we have to use it, because if we didn't, this would actually not work correctly. So let's go ahead and name this one Destroy RS, just like before, and we're good. So what we need to do now is we need to grab a compare node from Logic Compare. Plug it in down here, because what we're going to do is we're going to compare this to 0. Because that's important. That's what we're trying to find out, if it has 0 health or not. Because if it has 0 health, it should be destroyed. And that's what it's there for. But that's not the only thing. Because you notice we went into the negatives. Well, that's because with all math, things like this can happen. If you have, let's say it has 7 health left and you hit it for 10, you're going to have like -3, -2, somewhere along there. Sorry, my math is a bit off. But you're going to have a negative number. So that means it's not equal to 0 at that point, and it won't be destroyed, but it's a negative number. It's got negative health. So in order to make that happen, we need to go ahead and grab a Boolean logic from the logic category, and then we need to plug in A equals B into operand A, and then A is less than B into operand B. Because what this now will do is it 0 or less than 0, then something will happen. And that's exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and grab a branch and plug the OR into the condition. And if so, then if it has 0 or less, we go to the objects category and grab delete object. Plug it in right there at the end of the branch off the if true. Connect the object to the object you want destroyed, which is usually up here if you follow the script. And there's one more node we do need to add from logic, because it allows the script to have the accurate health numbers based off this script and the damage being done. Go ahead and connect a wait for in seconds from logic right after your event here and right before the branch. And we're going to put it for ½ a second. And that's it. Now, if we bring that health down to 0 or less, the sphere will get destroyed. It will simply cease to exist. I'm going to let the debug catch up over there on the left because it is a bit slow. Alright, now if we do it, boom, it's gone. We have reduced the health to 0, and that's it. It is no longer in the map. So, that's just for the BR though. Notice the other weapons weren't working, and that's okay, because that's why we have this next part of the tutorial. I'm going to show you the rest of the weapons, or just generally weapons, all the rest of your weapons if you want them to be. This is mainly set up so that way you can get specific weapon damage, like for a rocket launcher or a sniper rifle to do 100 damage, 150 damage, anything like that, while your small arm or smaller you know, weapons like your battle rifle, your AR, your Magnum might do the same amount of damage, considering, you know, they're just objects, they're not players or nothing. So the amount of, you know, shots and damage shouldn't really be all that different when it comes to regular bullet guns. But anyway, since we have that as the example already, I'm going to leave it there. And now we're going to use weapon. From this new one, we're going to duplicate get as weapon type, put it down here. We're going to connect weapon to equip weapon here. Since we can use it multiple times, we don't have to duplicate this. And the weapon we're going to use this time is... where's the rocket launcher? We'll set up the rocket launcher this time. There we go. And the only thing we need to do is duplicate the branch one more time and the increment number variable one more time. Go ahead and plug the condition of the second branch, not the condition, the action pin, into the if false. So that way, if it reads it, it says, what damaged me? Was it a BR? No. Okay. Was it a rocket launcher? And if it was a rocket launcher, then we're going to do this amount of damage. And we're going to do 100 damage with that. I'm going to duplicate this just because, so you can see it. There we go. So if you want to add your additional weapons, that's all you have to do. Let's go ahead. Oh, look at that. One shot, because it has two impacts. The rocket launcher has two impacts, so you might want to adjust your damage. Basically divide the damage you want it to do in half. Like, let's say -50, because now it will do -100 damage. Because, you know, just play around with your weapons, find out what does what, so that way you know. See, now it only has 50 left because it dealt an actual 100 damage. But yeah, so that's all you have to do. Now, last but not least, no other weapons will work. But that's why we have this. All you need to do to make all of your other weapons that you don't want to specify work, they will all have the same general damage unless you specify like you do here. This is the damage that every other weapon will do. So we're going to do a -1 on that. And now, no matter what weapon we use, as long if it isn't specified like these two, they will only do 1 damage. So now all of the rest of the weapons in the game are covered. So, yep, 1 damage. AR. 1 damage apiece. Yep. And then we grab the pulse carbine, go ahead and shoot this. Yeah, 1 damage. 1 damage. I don't think I really have to show much more than that. And then, of course, we use the battle rifle. It's still going to do the 10 because it's specified, and the rocket launcher. Look at that. It's got 4 health left. What was that with the BR? You'll see that it'll hit a negative value. But it still got destroyed because of the way we set it up. And that's it. That is how you add destructible objects, which could lead to destructible environments. And there's ways to attach, you know, effects to this to make it more realistic, to make it actually explode. But that's just simple objects and stuff. But there you go. And like I said, you can always add effects and different things to make it more realistic and immersive. But that's just the script to get it working. And that's it. That's all you'll need. And I think that's about it. By the time I recorded this, I think it's Christmas Eve today. But by the time this uploads, it may be Christmas. So if so, then Merry Christmas. And I will see you guys on the next one.